The recent events in Guangzhou's Haizhu district have highlighted the severe challenges facing the district's real economy and the escalating social conflicts. This is where I work, and as you can see, many shops here are closed or up for sale. The situation isn't optimistic, even after the New Year push. The economy hasn't bounced back, evident from the shuttered shops. This is a commercial area in Guangzhou's Panyu district, sprawling with amenities like free parking and a car wash. But despite the facilities, there's hardly any foot traffic. The shops remain deserted. My boss invested here a few years ago, hoping for growth. But look at it now, empty and abandoned. The rise of online shopping and influencers has hit traditional businesses hard. If things continue like this, I might not wait until next year to return to the countryside for good. Look at the empty floors and deserted parking lots. The reality is grim. So, if you're considering investing in a shop, think twice. The outlook isn't promising this year. Passing through Nanhua West Road in the Old Town area of Guangzhou, it's truly a dismal sight. All the shops along the street are closed, some even sealed and put up for auction. Given its prime location near Xi'an, it could easily be developed into a bustling food street like Xihua Road, attracting tourists. Plus, with temples and ancient alleyways nearby, it's puzzling why it's become so desolate. If it's because of the impact of e-commerce, it doesn't quite add up in Guangzhou, where offline shopping is often more advantageous. The exorbitant rent caused by the pandemic in the past few years has made it difficult for many brick-and-mortar stores to survive. But while a few closures are understandable, the entire street being shut down seems excessive. Sure, some brick-and-mortar stores struggle, but others thrive. Besides, the market is gradually recovering, and the economy is improving. Perhaps this area hasn't received the support it needs, lacking favorable policies to attract investment. But with hardly anyone on this street, it seems like even the locals have moved away. There aren't even any restaurants open. Developing some ghost houses could potentially revive the dining scene. Then, after exploring Xi'an, people could come here to eat and drink. Once foot traffic increases, the alleyways could also be developed into popular attractions. Currently, there are still people opening new stores here. What's going on? Closed, closed, closed. Pharmacies, restaurants, fruit shops, even adult stores have closed. Is there no demand anymore? Can't be, right? Only these two small noodle shops are left, and there's that new Pig's Trotter's rice shop in front. Almost everything else has gone under. What's the situation? Look, there's still a bustling crowd 20 meters away on the outside road, and even more bustling 200 meters down on the left. The atmosphere is lively, but it's dead quiet here. Let me explain. Just ahead, 200 meters down from where I'm standing, is a thriving area. Do you notice? It's like a crossroads here, with the flow of people heading in three directions, but not towards here. There are three reasons. One direction leads to the subway and bus stations. Another leads to densely populated urban villages. And the other leads to a bustling market and leisurely commercial street. So, the entire residential and consumption atmosphere is dominated by these areas. The most crucial thing is that where I am now, 20 meters to the right, you can see the flow of people, but it's deserted here. It's like a P shape, but nobody walks down this path. Why do people here just pass by without stopping? Their hurry is straight ahead, not turning down here. It's not that bad, right? So, this small area is now in such a state of disconnection. It's like a solid dam blocking the flood from flowing down. So, here's a soul-searching question for everyone. If it's like this here, why are people still opening new stores? Even a novice wouldn't do this, right? What's going on with the economy of brick-and-mortar stores in Guangzhou, Guangdong? What has led to the current situation? I'm currently at a chain supermarket located on Zhongshan Avenue in Tianhe District, Guangzhou. This supermarket has been here for quite some time, as you can see from my video, but there are very few people around, almost none at all. I've been filming for a while, and not a single person has walked by in my video. From conflicts erupting between workers and companies to complaints from vendors, and a sharp decline in foreign trade orders, the signs indicate that the real economy in Guangzhou has completely fallen into despair. In Haizhu district of Guangzhou, conflicts between workers and companies have become a major social problem. Workers complain about poor working conditions and low wages, while companies refuse to raise wages and improve working conditions, citing economic difficulties, resulting in a deadlock and continuous conflict, seriously threatening local social stability and tranquility. Government departments should attach great importance to this and take effective measures to resolve it. At the same time, vendors in Haizhu district are also complaining about the difficulty of making money. Due to fierce market competition, high cost pressure, and weak consumer demand, many vendors are facing livelihood difficulties, and they are calling on the government to provide more support and assistance. However, under the current situation, these calls seem to be ignored. What's even more severe is that with the sharp decline in foreign trade orders, many factory owners in Haizhu district and other places are facing a survival crisis. Without stable orders to support them, these factories have to face the risk of suspension, layoffs, or even bankruptcy. This will not only result in a large number of unemployed people but also severely impact the local economy, leading to more social problems. Besides, China's foreign trade needs an urgent revival surgery. Several world-class ports in China are now experiencing mountainous piles of empty containers. The number of empty containers at Ningbo Zhoushan Port has reached a historical record. Containers from Shanghai Yangshan Port are being piled up in Taicang, while Yantian Port in Shenzhen has already stacked up to 70% higher than its record in 29 years. Consequently, Shenzhen Port, for the first time in its 29-year history, has run out of containers, leaving workers with no work to do. Out of the 15,000 registered container truck drivers at Yantian Port, only around 2,000 are currently on duty, resulting in a deployment rate of less than 15%. Foreign trade enterprises are currently enduring hardship, especially export-oriented enterprises in Guangdong, Jiangsu, and Zhejiang provinces. Workers are facing reduced overtime pay due to the lack of shifts available, and the recruitment numbers at electronic factories are rapidly declining. This downward trend emerged last year, but accelerated this year. Is it solely due to the weak economy in Europe and America, resulting in a sharp decline in external demand? Not entirely. When China's trade with the United States sharply declined starting from the third quarter of last year, Germany's export growth to the United States surged by as much as 50% in September. Before the pandemic, China held a 60% share of the U.S. electronics market, but now Mexico has overtaken with the same share. The United States still remains the world's largest and most dynamic consumer market. Why must we now seek to ease tensions with the United States? One of the most important considerations is China's foreign trade. China's foreign trade needs urgent intervention. There is no time to waste. Recently, a storm swept through Chinese companies as TikTok faced impending bans from the United States, shocking the entire nation. This event has once again sparked people's contemplation and concern about the predicament of Chinese companies on the international stage. Various signs indicate that the days are increasingly difficult for Chinese companies, and the news of TikTok's ban is just the tip of the iceberg. People generally believe that the ban on TikTok by developed countries is self-inflicted. The reasons behind it include conflicts in human rights and values, security threats, and unfair competition. Human rights and values conflicts are among the significant reasons Chinese companies face criticism. The Chinese government's strict control over human rights and freedoms has long been criticized by the international community. This control not only affects domestic freedom of speech and individual rights, but also damages the reputation of Chinese companies in the international market. TikTok, as a typical representative of Chinese companies, has been accused of implementing government censorship and surveillance within China, which is seen as an obstacle to its expansion in overseas markets. Developed countries like the United States are unwilling to see their values challenged, hence, taking actions to ban Chinese companies like TikTok is not surprising. Moreover, concerns about security threats from Chinese companies have also attracted international attention. Companies from authoritarian countries may have close ties to the government or military and engage in activities related to national security. This connection raises fears in developed countries that these companies might become channels for security threats or espionage. TikTok is seen as a potential security threat in the US due to its lack of transparency and trustworthiness in protecting user data overseas. The US government believes that TikTok might misuse user data or even leak it to the Chinese government, hence the decision to ban it to protect national security. Apart from the predicament of the real economy, Shenzhen, Shanghai's property markets are also facing the risk of collapse, with housing prices plummeting. Many homebuyers have suffered heavy losses, some even falling into negative assets. This not only imposes tremendous economic pressure on individual families, but also affects the consumption and investment confidence of the entire society, further exacerbating economic instability. The internet industry, as one of the new engines of today's economy, is also not immune to the shadow of an economic downturn. Layoffs and salary cuts have become the norm for internet companies, which is an undeniable fact. From large internet companies to startups, almost every sector has been impacted. According to industry insiders, some well-known internet companies have laid off thousands of employees in the past few months, and even some startups have had to face the pressure of personnel reduction. This wave of layoffs not only dealt a heavy blow to individual employees' livelihoods, but also cast a heavy negative impact on the confidence of the entire industry. Faced with the pressure of layoffs and salary cuts, many employees have to face livelihood difficulties. Those who have lost their jobs are threatened with unemployment, and those who remain have to accept the reality of salary cuts to keep their jobs. An employee who used to work for a large internet company smiled bitterly, saying that while layoffs are a choice for the company, for those of us who are laid off, it's a nightmare. Finding a job is difficult, re-employment is even more challenging, and the pressure of life is suffocating. Not only that, but the downturn in the internet industry has also dealt a severe blow to the civil servant corps. Civil servants, as an important part of government agencies, have always been seen as a relatively stable profession. However, as the impact of the economic downturn gradually unfolds, more and more civil servants are facing the dilemma of falling into debt and declining living standards. The stable income and welfare benefits that civil servants used to enjoy have become a thing of the past, replaced by heavy debts and increased life pressure. In a striking turn of events, recent reports have emerged concerning the shutdown of Shanghai Beijing, a well-known retail landmark. This closure, set to commence on February 18, 2024, marks the end of an era for the iconic store, which has stood as a cornerstone of Shanghai's commercial scene for over 7 decades. Nestled in the lively Zhujiaohui district, Shanghai Beijing has long been a cherished hub for shoppers seeking a wide array of goods, boasting nearly 300 brand outlets under its roof. The announcement of Shanghai Beijing's closure has garnered widespread attention, attracting throngs of onlookers eager to immortalize the moment. Despite attempts to facilitate the transition for loyal patrons, such as arrangements for redeeming VIP points, the closure signifies a solemn chapter in the city's retail narrative. Adding to the gravity of the situation is the looming prospect of demolition and redevelopment at the site, further accentuating the significance of this development. However, this closure does not stand alone, but rather reflects a broader trend impacting China's economic landscape. In recent years, the nation has grappled with various economic hurdles, including sluggish growth rates and mounting debt levels. The closure of Shanghai Beijing, alongside other recent shutdowns in the vicinity, serves as a poignant reminder of the overarching economic uncertainties confronting China. As China confronts these challenges, it becomes evident that the retail sector is undergoing significant metamorphosis. Traditional brick-and-mortar establishments like Shanghai Beijing face stiff competition from online retailers and modern shopping complexes offering an array of amenities. Furthermore, shifting consumer preferences and evolving shopping habits continue to reshape the retail panorama, presenting additional hurdles for established enterprises. Furthermore, individuals have disclosed that not only are job opportunities becoming increasingly scarce, but also major cities like Guangdong, Jiangsu, and Shanghai are witnessing a decline in factory recruitments. An industrial park in Guangzhou now resembles a desolate, sparsely populated area. It's a rare sight to see job seekers there, and factories hiring workers are few and far between. Even when job listings do appear, they are predominantly posted by agencies, offering meager salaries and benefits. It's no wonder young individuals are hesitant to pursue employment there. A similar situation is unfolding in Shanghai. It seems like finding a job in Shanghai is really tough. I've been earnestly searching for 2 months now, but unlike previous years when there were plenty of options, now it's a struggle. Either the few opportunities one find don't meet my expectations, or the work hours don't suit me, or the commute is too far, or the industry isn't what I prefer. But this year, I haven't even been able to find any suitable positions. You can see on job platforms like BossGPN, HR representatives greet over 100 candidates every day, and after going through the arduous process of interviews, they end up finding faults with me. Perhaps it's because I'm not outstanding enough, or maybe there are just too many candidates to choose from. There have been one or two instances where I thought I might have a chance, and they even progressed to salary negotiations, but when I asked for further clarification, HR mentioned that the position required more leadership skills than I possessed. It feels like at this stage of job hunting, there are too many applicants and too few opportunities. Companies expect you to be perfect, to perfectly match their requirements, but on our end, we fall short. We can't fully meet their demands, and so the process drags on. Additionally, I'm not very articulate, or perhaps even quite poor at it, and in unfamiliar environments, I get nervous and afraid. Consequently, people may perceive me as lacking professionalism or being too introverted, and it's really confusing. I remember a few years ago, salaries were several thousand higher, and you could choose from different companies when the industry was booming. But now, it's all about multitasking and meeting numerous requirements. You might have to do the work of 2 or 3 people, handle shooting, editing, scripting, and operations, among other things. I don't know what to do anymore. I feel like I won't even have enough to eat if things continue like this. Many factories in Shanghai are already fully staffed, and others have no work available. If you can't find a job in Shanghai and stay for 7 or 8 days, the expenses can be really high. Even before earning any salary, you have to spend a significant amount of money. Have you found any good factories? Well, not to mention good ones, there aren't many factories left. Just look at SAIC Maxis, where you couldn't even move before, now they're interviewing 70 to 80 people every day, and they're all full. Even Cherry, where many people said they wouldn't go no matter what, is full too. Most likely, just like last year, there will be a large number of people stuck in the Jiangsu-Zhejiang-Shanghai region, unable to find satisfactory jobs. In the end, you can only come out again during the May Day holiday. If you really want to make some money, you have to compromise and find something relatively decent. Shenzhen is facing a similar situation now that we're already in March. There are usually many workers who go out to find jobs, but many of them still haven't found employment. You might find it strange, because Shenzhen has so many factories, so is it really that hard to find work? Large numbers of factories are moving away from Shenzhen, leaving job seekers bewildered. The decreasing number of factories has made finding employment increasingly difficult, a strange phenomenon that truly baffles the mind. Shenzhen, a first-tier city and an economic hub, has seen rapid industrial development since becoming an economic special zone. Countless enterprises have settled here, making its manufacturing industry unparalleled. Many renowned factories have emerged in this city, such as Huawei, Foxconn, and BYD, among others. In the 80s and 90s, there were numerous large factories, and many people flocked to Shenzhen to work and earn money. Securing a job in a factory here was once a dream for many, with lines forming even before dawn just to apply, creating a spectacular scene. However, over the years, everything has changed. Nowadays, factories are dwindling, with fewer employees in each and fewer job seekers overall. Previously popular enterprises like Foxconn are no longer as sought after. What's even stranger is the mass exodus of factories from Shenzhen. Areas like Tangwei in Tongxia and Jintian Industrial Zone, once home to numerous hardware factories, are now deserted. Even in places like Shaojing's Shaowei Industrial Zone, formerly bustling with electronics and chemical factories, all have relocated, leaving behind ruins. Rumor has it that even the largest renowned underwear factory in Gongming is planning to move. At this rate, in a dozen years, Shenzhen may no longer have a manufacturing industry, and finding work will become even more challenging for laborers. There are various reasons for the exodus of factories. Rising prices, though beneficial for some, have squeezed profits for factories. High social security payments and increasing wage demands from employees have added to the financial burden. Additionally, being a first-tier city, rental prices in Shenzhen are much higher compared to places like Dongguan, yet the spaces available are smaller. Environmental upgrades also require additional funds for compliance, and decreased orders have further strained these enterprises, forcing them to relocate from Shenzhen. This is a trend in social development, survival of the fittest. On March 18, according to reports from Bloomberg, Reuters, and other foreign media outlets, LONGi Green Technology Energy Limited Company, LONGi Green Energy, the world's largest solar energy manufacturer, is planning to lay off nearly one-third of its workforce to reduce costs amid overcapacity and intense competition in the industry. Multiple sources revealed that LONGi is planning to lay off as many as 30% of its workforce, which peaked at around 80,000 employees last year. Some individuals have been briefed by senior management about the plan, although it has not been made public, hence the anonymity of the sources. Since November 2023, the company has been accelerating its layoffs, dismissing thousands of employees, most of whom were management trainees and factory workers. Goldman Sachs analysis reveals that while China is actively fostering emerging sectors like electric vehicles and renewable energy, these industries currently contribute only 3.5% to the GDP. In contrast, traditional real estate dominates a much larger share, about 1/4 of the GDP. Despite government efforts, these emerging industries cannot fully replace real estate's pivotal role. China's economy may be operating below its potential growth level, with a national budget deficit of 3% of GDP and inflation rates near zero. Fiscal challenges persist, urging caution against mass stimulus policies.